Alright guys, just Sam here, back for another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And in today's video, we're going to be checking out the Dokkan Fest Super 17, because of course he did just come out on Global. And, you know, this guy's good, right? I mean, he gets a lot of hate for good reason, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But he's still good, right? I mean, he's on some teams that definitely need the help. I know stuff like GT Bosses is one of the worst categories in the game. You know, Power Absorption, Artificial Life Forms, Target Goku, Androids. All those categories definitely could use the help. So this guy's a good addition to those teams, but still, in a lot of areas, he could have been much better. So actually, he kind of reminds me of the Dokkan Fest Turles. I mean, he's good, but, you know, they could have made him a little bit better, and they probably could have given him a little bit more help as well, because during this guy's celebration, dude, it was rough. Like, his banner unit was really the only unit that helped him, and even that was, like, kind of. Because his banner unit is really only good when you're facing a Goku family enemy, so it's not like you can just run the banner unit on whatever team with this guy. So I think my main issue with him right now is just that he doesn't have that much help. But of course, with the good Android celebration, or GT Bosses celebration, that could completely change. So, I mean, this guy is really only as good as his teams are, and unfortunately right now his teams aren't really all that crazy. So before we get into the video, if you find yourself enjoying it at any point, feel free to like and subscribe. Also, keep in mind there are timestamps in the video, so if you want to skip around to any point, then absolutely feel free to do that. And yeah, let's get right into it. So on this opening rotation right here, we are going to have a 5 out of 7 links, so got a lot of links active. And we do also have a lot of support. We've got some support from the androids in slot 1, and then we got some support from 13, so just again, a good rotation for him. And right here, we're at 247k defense. Okay, so that's not the best start of turn defensive stat, but we do get a lot of defense on super. So we get 70% attack and defense when performing a super, and then we get 30% defense from our actual super attack effect, and we also have built-in additionals. So we launch an additional attack that has a medium chance of becoming a super just for free, so that definitely is pretty good. And then also we launch a guaranteed additional super attack when there's a super class enemy for the first 4 turns from start of battle. So of course we are facing a super class enemy, so we could get the quadruple super right here, which if we get 4 supers, our defense is actually going to be looking really impressive. I think we're going to be, what, over like 700k, which is pretty good turn 1, especially considering this guy does also get a 17% chance to crit and dodge after every attack he does. So then with 4 attacks, obviously that means we're hovering around a 50% chance to dodge and a 50% chance to crit. So definitely very impressive, right? I mean, if you get a lot of additionals, this guy can look good. But of course, some of the additionals are just RNG, so you know you're not guaranteed to get 4 supers, but we do at least have 2 supers right here, which is pretty good because we are stacking attack as well. So we stack attack by 30% on our super attack effect, alongside getting the 30% defense. So obviously, you know, the more supers you do, your damage will just start to really get up there. So 6.2. Okay, I mean, that's not great, but because we've got built-in additionals and we are stacking attack, that's not bad either, because obviously the potential is definitely very high. So, all right, yeah, there's the guaranteed additional super. Now, because it's an additional that has a medium chance to become a super that he just has built in for free, that means obviously we've got a more likely chance to get the additional super after that. So I think it's pretty common you'll see this guy do 4 supers, especially if you're, or only if you're facing a super class enemy, which can be an issue with this guy because, of course, most of the difficult events in the game right now, they are extreme class enemies with virtually every red zone stage, except for, I guess, the gammas. So, you know, that definitely isn't the best thing, but of course, if we get, like, you know, difficult content with super class units, then he'll work a lot better in there. And with Turles' kit, because of course he does get the intro buff if you're facing a Goku family enemy, you know, you would assume we would be getting, you know, Goku family red zone stages soon, or, you know, something like that. So in there, this guy definitely would be, you know, a little bit better because then he has those additionals. But anyway, right here we're at 251k defense, so a little bit of a drop off because we did lose just a little bit of support, but we do still have the 50% support from the hit right here, so we're still looking all right. I mean, nothing too crazy, but, you know, we got majority of our links active, so definitely a good turn for him nonetheless. So we'll see his attack stat right here. I mean, yeah, 5.6. That's all right because, you know, we got the additionals. We're stacking. I don't know. I mean, the main issue with him is that, you know, he isn't really a slot 1 unit, like, at all. You kind of have to run him in slot 2, at least before you fuse into Super 17. And that is kind of an issue because I don't think there is any slot 1 androids unit, actually. I mean, I guess the Easy A in LR Cell, he's kind of a slot 1 unit once you get the transformation off with him, because then at that point, you know, you get a lot of key spheres with him. He has the damage reduction, so, you know, you could probably fare off well with having him in slot 1, but other than him, there's no real good slot 1 units, and even him, he's not really the best slot 1 unit, so I think right now that is a big issue with them because you have to have them in slot 2, so then, you got to put another crappy unit in slot 1, or another bad slot 1 unit. I don't want to say, some of these Android units are crappy, but, they kind of are, because like I said, dude, this team is just not in the best spot right now. I mean, actually, we'll look at the Androids category in a second, because that's pretty much their best team, because you can't really run them on Fuse Fighter, because there's no really good linking partners with them there. GT Bosses is horrible. You definitely can't run them on GT Bosses. That's probably one of the worst categories in the game right now. I mean, I know there's the GT Legendary Goku event mission, to where you have to beat that event with GT Bosses category units, and I literally can't do it. Like, I can't. I mean, maybe if I had the ban unit Sen Shenron, but I don't have him, so I just literally cannot do that. But okay, let's check out the Androids category right now, because like I said, I'm pretty sure that's his best team. I mean, Target Goku, I guess it's got some of the coolers, and you got the new Piccolo. Well, actually, yeah, Target Goku's probably his best team, actually. So if you're running Target Goku, yeah, this guy could be solid. I mean, his leader skill obviously has Target Goku in it as well. So, I mean, I guess that is pretty good, but I don't know, man. I feel like his teams still aren't amazing because even most of the units on here, they're not necessarily linking that well with him, right? I mean, you run him next to Cooler. I mean, sure, they'll share, what, like, Brutal Beatdown, Fierce Battle, and then that's it, right? So, I mean, it's not necessarily the best setup in terms of that, but I mean, still, I guess this team would kind of work for him. If you want to bring androids 19 and 20, that could probably work, but then if you do that, you don't have a good slot 1 unit, so kind of brings back to what I was saying earlier. This guy being a slot 2 unit does kind of affect him. Maybe if you could have gotten the, like, fusion off with him earlier, then it would have been a little bit better, because when you do fuse, he does kind of become a slot 1 unit, but the condition to fuse with him is pretty bad. I'm sure a lot of you are aware. It's a pretty rough condition. So you have to be below 70% HP from the 5th turn from start of battle. So that's not the best, right? I mean, that definitely is pretty rough. So you're not really going to see that necessarily early into the fight, especially because events are really only going on until turn like 9 at the latest, right? So you're not getting the transformation off or the fusion off until, well past halfway through the fight. So at that point, you're running a big risk just using these guys, because for those first couple phases, they're really not going to be looking all that crazy, right? I mean, they're going to take a bit of damage. Of course, they've got the dodge, which is good, but, that's only restricted to, like, after they super. And then, of course, now events are canceling dodge as well. So it's just kind of weird with these guys. I don't want to say they're necessarily outright bad. Just like I said earlier in the video, their teams are bad. Like, if there was a really good slot 1 androids unit, like, Tech God Goku, who has the 77% damage reduction, if we had a unit like him on the androids category, I feel like that just by itself would make him a lot better. That would link good with him as well, because, you could run them as a rotation, and then before Super 17 actually gets the fusion into Super 17, he can work good in slot 2, because you've got that slot 1 unit that you can just throw in there. He'll totally hold it down, and then they get the dodge chance, they get all the defense on Super, so then they're completely fine, and then eventually, you get the fusion off, and then you can throw them in slot 1, so then they take the attacks and then build up, because that's another issue. Not only is the condition not really the best to actually fuse in Super 17, but then from there, you still need to build up. So it's like you're not really seeing them at like their max potential until way late into the fight. Like most of the time, you're not even getting to that point because just fights don't go on that long right now. So I don't know. Again, it's just he's in a wonky spot right now. I would say the two big issues are just, his active skill condition is pretty rough. And then you have to build up from there, so then that kind of makes it to where you're not seeing him at his, max potential until late into the fight, and also his teams aren't the best. But other than that, good unit, right? I mean, he's stacking, he gets a lot of attack and defense on Super, he's got dodge built in, at least, before he fuses, so that definitely is pretty good. But we've already kind of shown everything there is to show with him, because he doesn't build up in his pre-fuse state, so we'll just go ahead and cut to when we have the fusion, and, we can show that. Alright, so we're back, and we got his active skill right here. I had to retry the Legendary Vegeta event because I went the whole previous fight without getting the active skill, but luckily, as you can see, only turn 5, we can do it right here because we took a lot of damage on the previous turn. So, yeah, I mean, a good turn for him right here. He's going to have most of his links active. Let me make sure I have the skip off, which I do, so let's go and play this. Dude, I love his OST. His OST is a banger. It's a good one. I mean, Dokkan has really been killing it with the OSTs lately, but I really like Super 17. So, okay. Right here, as you can see, we have a Scouter, actually, which I guess we'll just go over his kit right now. So, this guy does get the Scouter when HP is 34% or less, which is alright. I mean, that's not really amazing. Most of the time, you're not going to be below 34% HP, obviously, but it's still there. So, if you are, it'll definitely be very useful. You'll know where to, obviously put the units in the right spot. But, unfortunately, most of the units on this guy's teams aren't really good enough to tank a super. At least in slot 1, so then if you see you are taking a super in slot 1, it's kind of like, oh, okay, well, I guess we're just going to dive in. But anyway, this guy does also absorb Ki Blast supers directed at the character and recovers 34% of the damage dealt as HP within the turn if HP is 70% or less. I mean, it's... okay, so you have to be below 70% HP to get that activated. That's not the worst condition. I kind of wish he just had it for free in general, like the Android 19 and 20, but... still, it's not horrible. At least he has that. It'll be very useful in a lot of situations, so, at least there's that. He has a medium chance to crit when there's a super class enemy. Of course, we do have that active right here, so that definitely is very good. He gets 17% defense with every attack received up to 170%. So that's what I was talking about earlier when I said you have to obviously fuse with him and then build up. And it's not like a quick build up either. That's a lot, right? You're going to have to take a good amount of attacks to be fully built up. But... that is 170% defense when you are fully built up, and that definitely will be very good. So actually, speaking of that, we'll probably throw him in slot 1 so he can take as many attacks as possible. And then this guy does also get an additional attack that has a high chance to become a super within the same turn after receiving an attack. Now that's really good, because not only are you obviously doing more damage, but this guy gets 50% attack and defense on super attack effect. So a very good super attack effect right there. 50% attack and defense, and then he has built-in additional, so then that means after you super... your defense will get really good, which is nice, but like I said, we need a good slot 1 option on these teams, so unfortunately, another slot 2 option isn't necessarily the best, but still, I won't take it away from him. 50% defense on super, very good, considering he has built-in additionals. And then this guy reduces damage received by 34% for 4 turns from start of turn, and then he gets an additional just damage reduction of 17% just for free, so that's definitely very good. And then he gets some extra attack when performing a super, and then he's got a start of turn attack and defense stats. So, yeah, a good passive, right? He's got a lot going on, but there's a lot of conditions and restrictions like behind these things, which isn't necessarily the best. But as you can see right there, we are building up. We are at a 12 million attack stat. That's pretty crazy, actually, because we have a medium chance to crit, and we also have an additional that has a high chance to become a super. Yeah, actually, that's really good. What the hell? That's pretty crazy. Okay, so we got the double super, and we also received a bunch of attacks, so our defense right here is well over 500k. We got the triple super, dude, 13.6. Yeah, dude, that's pretty crazy. I mean, he does stack in his pre-fused state, so, keep that in mind. The more additionals you get with both the 17s, of course, Super 17 will just look better offensively, but, dude, that was pretty crazy. What was that, like a 12 million into a 12.6 or whatever, and then into a 13 point something? I know, I literally just saw the attack stats, but I already forgot. But anyway, that's still really impressive, especially, again, because he's got the additionals and the crits. Dude, that was insane. Okay, I guess we can... actually, I'll stack up a little bit with this guy. I was going to say, I guess we can just go ahead and fuse with them, but we'll stack up a bit, and then during the final phase, or, in a couple turns, we'll fuse with them. And then see how good their damage is looking. Or I guess we could do the nuke test with them, actually. Just let them continuously stack, and then fuse into Super 17, and then nuke with them. But, yeah, dude, that was a really crazy turn. I mean, his damage, man, it's good, but his defense, unfortunately, isn't necessarily the craziest. I mean, he's got a good amount of damage reduction, which is good. I think he's got 51% damage reduction for the first 4 turns. But then after those 4 turns, it drops to 17%. But then by then, you'll have built up a lot of your defense, so defensively, it'll hold up a little bit better, but still, I don't know, man. I really think they should have just, like, either gotten rid of the build-up completely, or made it to where he gets, like 30% defense with every attack received, or, like, 40% or something, just so it's much easier to build up with him, because only 17% defense with every attack received, up to 170%, dude, that's going to take forever to build up. I'm not going to do the math, but it's a fair amount of attacks you have to receive. And that's after turn 5. Well, not turn 5. It's after you get the active skill, which can be past turn 5 if you're not lucky enough. But anyway, right here, 333k defense, definitely pretty good. I guess we'll just keep on showcasing him. I mean, I was going to say we'll showcase this turn and then nuke on the next one and then call it in here, but I do want to see him fully built up. So we'll just keep on going until, I guess, the final phase. But right here, he's looking pretty good. You know, he's got... Actually, no, he doesn't have support. Super 13 doesn't support anymore. So we do build up a little bit more. We're at a 10.1 million attack stat. Yeah, his damage, man. His damage is something else. And, dude, this animation looks clean, too. I mean, dude, he's got a great OST. You know, his animations are clean. And when you fuse, he's looking pretty good, right? I mean, you have to build up with him. But for the most part, you know, he's looking pretty good. It's just, man, his teams right now, it's not in the best spot. So, that is pretty unfortunate. Yeah, we definitely have to pop a Ghost Usher right here. Yeah, on the next turn, we're going to have a lot of support, and we built up a bit more. So, this next turn is going to be pretty crazy for him. I'm just hoping we don't die because we do have type disadvantage. So, we're still going to take a lot of damage from a super. I know that. He's going to get folded from a super with this guy, especially because the Vegeta lowers defense. But we'll try and... Well, I should use the Scouter. Whatever. It's alright. We'll try and put him in a slot that isn't receiving that many attacks. Because after he supers, he should be fine. I mean, he gets all the defense on super. And then also, you know, he's got the additionals built in, so you can get a lot of defense on your super attacks. Okay, a crit. Yeah, I mean, this hit, he's still solid, I guess. He's got the 50% support. I don't know. I wanted to throw him on the team just because the support's pretty crazy, but he's not really going to work on this team as well, because that guy obviously shares virtually no links with Turles. With Super 17, he just obviously has his support. But anyway, right here, 347k defense. Not as good as I thought, honestly. Oh, okay, 69k. Okay, I take it back. 469k defense. Still not as good as... I mean, that's definitely better, but I don't know. That's still not crazy. I mean, I guess we've got 51% damage reduction, so that's good. And we get a lot of defense on super. Yeah, let's just throw him in slot 1. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So, okay, I mean, yeah, overall, he's looking good. You know, once... No one can beat him when he's Super 17. You know, I'll give him that. You know, he's definitely looking impressive now, but, you know, to get here... I mean, look at that. We're on turn 9. We're still building up. And we're still building up. Every one of those attacks are still building up. But, of course, if you do get to this point, you know, he'll look really impressive. It's just getting to this point will take a long time. And also, we fuse with him on turn 5. So this was, like, the ideal situation. You fuse with him as soon as possible, and he's still building up. So, of course, you know, it's not always going to be like that. You're not always going to be able to fuse with him on turn 5. Majority of the time, it's going to be like turn 6, 7, 8, maybe. And then at that point, you're not even going to be able to fully build up with him, right? It's just that opportunity is completely out of the window because it's just going to take way too long. So, okay, it looks like we're not killing, which is good. So then we can do the nuke test on the next turn. Man, this legendary Vegeta event fight is very long. This is definitely going to be a very long showcase today. Okay, so... Yeah, I guess we can just go ahead and pop the skip. And then we can do this. And then we'll do the nuke test with him. We already got a lot of STR key spheres on the actual field. So that definitely is pretty good. Hopefully we can get the other ones, which we can. Perfect. Okay. Alright, this is working out good. 23 key spheres. We do also have a lot of support. Who does he link better with, though? I guess the Super 13. Okay, so... We got a lot of support. We also popped the, you know, World Tournament Announcer item right here. So, I'm assuming this attack stat is about to be, like, busted, right? Because his damage, as we've seen, is looking really good so far. So, now with the nuking item, yeah, 28 million. Medium chance to crit. And we also have an addition... Well, we don't have the additional that has a high chance to become a super right here. But if we received an attack, then we would have that. But we still got the additional super, nonetheless, for 30 million. So, okay, pretty good. Can we get the crit? I'm curious how much damage this would do. 16.4. Alright, yeah, pretty crazy. So with all that shown, let's go ahead and cut to the Metal Cooler Core fight. Alright, so we're here fighting Metal Cooler Core, and we got a pretty good setup for him right here. We are taking a super before we super attack, so we're probably going to end up dying, but I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. I mean, this is going to do a bit of damage because, of course, they get a lot of defense on super. But we do got a good turn for him. He's got support. He's linked up with Super 17. So, in theory, you know, this should be good. Okay, 51k. I mean, alright, how much are we taking from this? Because we might survive this. No, we're dead. What? Okay, we survived it. Never mind. We have to be at like 10k HP. Alright, well, we're still going to die in this turn. I guess, more or less, the 17 survived it. Super 17 in slot 2 is still going to die. Yeah. Okay, 4,754 HP. Definitely very low. If they weren't rainbowed level 10 links, you know, if you only had them 55% or something like that, they definitely would die right there. They would definitely be dead. Just completely one-shotted, but okay, yeah, we are dead. So, pretty impressive, but I think they could do better if they super first. So, let's go ahead and cut to rotation where we have that. Alright, so we're back fighting Metal Cooler Core, and we do have a good setup for him right here. As you can see, we are taking a super attack after we super, so we're going to get all the defense we get. And if we dodge it, then, you know, I'm just going to leave it at that. It's still very good if he dodges it, right, because he's got the dodge built into his kit. But I would still be kind of curious how much he's tanking after he supers. But because he survived the super on the previous turn we showed, I think he would take like 300k. As long as you get like an additional super, which I guess you technically don't have a guaranteed additional super in here, because of course we're not facing a super class enemy, so I don't know. He might take a bit of damage from his super, which again is why we really just need like super class, like red zone stages now, because this guy would work very good in there. You know, when he fuses into Super 17, he gets that medium chance to crit if there's a super class enemy, so not only would Super 17 look better in there, but I don't know, there's just a lot of units that kind of need like super class enemies to look impressive, right? So I think maybe a Goku family red zone stage, Vegeta family, whatever they want to do, would definitely be good for a lot of units like this. But okay, little over 5 million, not the craziest, but you got to keep in mind we don't have any support right here. We just have him linked up next to the LR Super 17, so of course that's going to make him look pretty good. And we did dodge it. All right, so pretty impressive, right? I mean, he survived that one super on the turn before, and then he dodged that. I mean, the dodge is definitely going to make him very good because, of course, you know, you're virtually taking no damage as long as you are dodging. So, I mean, I guess that has been the red zone test. This video is extremely long, so I'm not going to do the unit breakdown because we basically already went over everything in his kit. So we're just going to call it at that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys are thinking of this guy. And if you're deciding whether or not to summon on him, don't. But, you know, if you really like Super 17, then I guess, you know, good luck on your summons. So that has been the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.